All right. Thanks for being here. So let's begin in a seated position. I'm feeling the hip crease able to soften. So you might elevate hips in order to feel the hip area releasing, the weight of the thigh and the leg, the knees melting down. And we'll connect to our Ujjayi breath. And feel the hands and the wrists softening, opening. This is a lively quality in my opinion. So the release doesn't make limp the body. The gesture of release seems to reveal a lively quality that's already available, sense available. And we can do this with the face too, softening around the eyes, the brow, the jaw, ears, the back of the neck where the skull and the neck meet, the face, the lips, and perhaps more subtly, just behind the nose into the bones, in and behind the nose. In the place where you may be feeling the Ujjayi technique occur, you can release in that deep facial sinus behind the nose and throat area. So we're just remembering, waking up to feeling that alive, that buzzingly alive quality that we already are. But we'll use some techniques to really help us see it, get it, feel it, know it. Let's leave the legs exactly as they are. Inhale the arms out to the side, and exhaling, we'll go left over right in eagle. Left elbow over right, eagle. With that nose, face, facial area soft, inhaling into the upper back. And then exhaling, glide the shoulders down. Just softly send the arm bones forward. So blades down, arms forward. It's a compound move of sorts. Feeling the sit bones, the tailbone melting down away from the upper back. And let's start to express the rib muscles more fully, which might be more dramatically as I'm inhaling. Still softly, I can feel the omnidirectional, the volumizing. And so all that movement around the apical, the very top of the lung and rib. And we'll release. Let's switch the cross of our legs before we switch the cross of our arms. Eagle. Inhaling. Reaching out through the palms and the fingertips. This time exhale the right over the left. And again, feeling the sit bones melt down away from the upper back sensation, which might be stretch, might be tautness. And release. We'll unwind the arms, we'll unwind the legs. And let's now go soles of feet together, Baddha Konasana, for forward fold. Okay. So if it's helpful to kind of move the thigh and the butt muscle toward the back, that may actually help the pelvis kind of hinge around the thigh bones as we move forward. When I get the pelvis to hinge around the thigh bones, it seems to put less stress in the low back. So here we go. Inhaling the heart, lifting it forward away from the sit bones. And then exhaling, feeling the sit bones release back. Maybe you can feel the pelvis kind of turning around the two thigh bones. It doesn't have to be a deep fold. Just these initial moves are often about bringing breath nearer to the spine, the neck, the spine, and feeling breath and that breath movement become absorbed and remembered by our spine. So just feeling the spine starting to articulate. And we'll release. When we come up, help your legs together. We'll lie back. We'll do a quick round, couple rounds of some abdominals. And we'll recall about remembering the low belly, breathing with the low belly. Probably not our habitual way of breathing. Again, so we can feel the liveliness, the intrinsic quality of aliveness that comes with an awake sensing body. Here we go, elbow to knee. Inhale, we'll float the head, the shoulders up. Exhaling, reach out for the left leg. Feel your tailbone moving in the direction of your left leg. And now draw the low belly down. You start to feel the perineum, the very base of the core. Inhale, bend left knee. Exhaling, right leg out reaches. Now feel the tailbone moving in the direction of the right heel. Maybe that helps you feel the back of the perineum. Draw the low belly down. Maybe that helps us feel the front half of the pelvic floor. Inhale, bend the right knee. We'll do just like three more aside. Exhale, left leg reaches. Feel the tailbone move toward the heel. To me, that feels subtler than curling the tailbone. Draw low belly down, tracking that movement to the front half of the pelvic floor. Inhaling, bend left knee. Exhale, right leg reaches, tailbone moves toward the right leg, drawing the low belly down. So just kind of feeling both halves of the pelvic floor. Inhale, bend the right knee. Let's do those last two aside on our own. Continue. There's a subtle engagement of the pelvic floor. You might be finding it as you feel the tailbone move toward the straightened leg, or in the direction of the straightened leg. You might feel another portion of it when you're drawing the low belly down. Track with those two moves. It's not a full-on squeeze. It's not a super muscular squeeze. But there is movement. There is muscular movement. Having access to that subtle, that pelvic floor movement, I think goes a long way to helping us feel the aliveness of the hips and the back, and also the brain, and the neck. If you have that access, you know, those articulating capacities, you can play with kind of letting them flop go and then bringing them back in, and note how your whole organism kind of moves in this really alive way. So second one is frog. So bring the feet off the ground again, knees over the hips, and we'll separate the thighs, the legs. If you don't quite feel an amount of like inner groin or pelvic floor here, you can widen out the legs more. So frog may be adequate. And some of you may want to just straighten the knees just a tiny bit more, just bringing in a little more sensation for the hip socket, the perineum, the pelvic floor. Here we go. Inhale, the head rather, and the shoulders just a bit off the ground. Exhaling. The tailbone moves in the direction of the sky, drawing the low belly down. Can you feel that little streak of connection through the pubic bone area to the front half of the pelvic floor? Inhaling, relaxing some of those pelvic floor, those abdominal contractions. And then exhaling. kind of sparking them again. To me, these are sparks of movements. And let's continue. Let's do about 6 more on our own. If it becomes too intense or too challenging to track, just bend the knees a bit more. So by going to the pelvic floor, I'm offering that there's feeling the larger muscles of the groin and the glute and the hip and the abs, but there's also a deep set of muscular movements that are very breath receptive, breath responsive. And they're very tension, they could be tension prone. They could be a little frozen with tension for sure. Just finding out, do I have access to them? Is there an engagement there? Is there a release there? Is there a spectrum of movement possibility? Or maybe I have a more static read on the pelvic floor. Good, looks like we're complete. So when we turn to a side, we'll press the elbows and knees. Right, when we work with the sacrum and the pelvic floor, right, it's really helpful to also work with the brain and the skull and the fluids movement between the sacrum and the skull. So what I think is the most challenging thing to just describe is that there's a degree of this pelvic floor responsivity in every breath and every pose. And not a full-on squeeze. It's not like a clutch, but it's also not a vacant area. There's kind of a lively in-betweenness. Inhaling, press the forearms down. We're set up for dolphin. Allowing the neck, the weight of the head to soften down. Toes curled under. Exhale, the knees off the ground. So one of the things I've been offering as a way to keep track of this responsivity of the pelvic floor is you may want to keep your knees bent. There's a common occurrence I notice is that for many of us, as we straighten our legs, there's a rather global tension that seems to occur in the pelvic area, which makes differentiation more challenging, I would say. So by keeping the knees bent, and this is just one option if you're kind of interested in pursuing this pelvic floor sensing, is by keeping the knees bent, there's less of the global tension. And so there may be more articulation and movement between the legs and the back and the sacrum and the sockets and the genitals. And do you feel a subtle articulation or responsiveness of pelvic floor to breath? And more basically, like, can I feel my breath in, near, or even around my low back and pelvis? Let's sink rather some weight into the left leg, left foot. Inhale, draw the right foot up. And exhaling, reach out through the right foot, reach. The tailbone follows the right foot. And we'll switch sides, bringing the right foot down. We'll sink some weight into that. And then inhaling, draw the left foot up. Exhale, the left leg moves outward, the tail moves in that direction. Keep following with the back of the pelvic floor. Again, these are just statistically, I would say, relevant observations, is when we tend to clutch the back of our pelvis, I bet it gets really intense for the shoulders and the neck almost automatically, like there's a correlation. That's it. Good. Let's set that foot down. We'll set the knees down. We'll take a little rest from that. I'm going to recommend a wall for this next move. You don't have to, but the benefit I get from this, and I'll just show you by standing next to a wall, is when I lift my leg and I go to grab my foot, the wall helps me keep my pelvis facing the same direction so that I can make the turn through my ribs rather than through my sacrum and my low back. And I'm kind of exaggerating the potential move that might occur without a wall. Okay, so I'm going to start with the right hand grabbing the right foot. If you have even like a little, like a couch or just something to situate your hip right up against so you could track its movement in space, I think it might be really, really cool and helpful. So I begin with my right hip. I am up against the wall. My right hand grabs the inside of the right foot. Now I think it's helpful to leave the big toe on the ground. That's my left big toe. As I turn, that big toe is so helpful in keeping my left hip subtly kind of moving toward my right foot. The wall as balance also allows me to really reach through that left arm. And again, to reach my left arm back, I'm subtly having to draw my left hip forward. It's not an actual movement, but it's a counter. It's a counter to my outreach. And what helps that counter movement, that anchoring counter movement, is my left big toe. That left big toe helps me direct and feel my hip. There you go. That's it. That's it. Yeah, so the direction of that left foot, very important. The big toe being on the ground, I think, is a cool, important feature. To give it just one, maybe two more incredible breaths into the mid back, the upper back. And release. We'll switch sides. All right. So I've got my left hand grabbing my left foot. That's on the inside, the arch side. And release. All right. So maybe, hopefully, that wall gave us enough support so that we could bring the breath, the twist, and the motioning through more the mid-back. All right. So let's move to the top of our mat. We'll go through some suns and some vignettes. Chair pose. Inhaling, bend the knees, reach arms overhead. Exhaling, fold forward, softening the face, the ears, the jaw, opening up the palms. Even if you're grabbing something, open up those palms. Monkey, inhale, chest lifts away from the lap. If your palms are on the ground, push with the palms so you're lifting up. Upper back spread. Exhale, step or lightly jump feet back. I'm going to step back. Chaturanga. And we'll lower all the way down, cobra first. Inhale. Shins move back, heart lifts forward. Exhale, lower, downward dog, reset hands, and press back. Remain here for 2 additional breaths. Straighten fully the arms, meaning don't lock the elbows, but engage those triceps. Straighten the arms, bringing the joints, bringing the muscles to kind of feel out some of those deeper ranges of the elbow joints. Inhale the right foot forward, warrior one. Warrior one. We'll bring the arms up for bird wing. So this means my palms and my forearms are level with the ground. My elbows are beside my rib cage. Inhaling, ribs into arms. And now exhale, cinch up and squeeze the armpit area, more precisely the back creases of the armpit. And as I glide the shoulders down, you may feel how those armpit muscles, those shoulder blade muscles, actually contribute a bit of this almost spiraling motion of the rib cage. So let's release the squeeze, inhaling. Can you feel breath under the armpit? That's pretty high up in the ribs and in the lungs. And then exhale. Keeping the shoulders drawn down, cinch and press the armpit creases together. The back of the armpit, squeeze elbows toward the ribs, pressing inwardly, drawing downwardly. The hands may move apart slightly. We'll do another inhale, releasing the pressures, the squeezes. Again, I think this is really fascinating as a spiral study. And then exhale is the squeeze. The left armpit squeezes, the right armpit squeezes. And allow the arms to go down, inhaling, releasing the squeeze and lifting the left the left arm up for twisting warrior. Exhale, bring left elbow over right thigh. Left hand makes a fist. Right hand presses against that. Now, twisting warrior interlock. The option here is leaving the left knee up, or you could slide or slip the left knee down to the ground if you need more support. So moving on exhale, left armpit next to thigh. Right hand moves behind the back. And we connect the hands, or we just grab some waistband area clothing. Release hands. Inhaling, unwind, hands to ground. Exhaling, chaturanga. Actually, for now, let's lower belly to earth. We'll move all the way down, just giving those shoulders a little relaxed moment. Inhale, cobra. Shins reach back, chest lifts forward. Exhaling, lower downward dog. We'll take 2 additional breaths in our downward dog. So now as I straighten the arms, feel this in your body. If there's a connection here for you. As I straighten my arms, engaging my triceps, straightening the elbows, and then I feel the broadening across the upper back. That may be a distinct kind of a distinctly spreading move for the upper back compared to what we are just doing with those armpit muscles. So we're doing a lot, I hope, to condense and move and spread and articulate that back of heart, the back of shoulders. So I get a very different, I got some visitors, wrap of the shoulders with elbows straight or elbows bent. They're extraordinarily different, and we should really engage all of those possibilities for fun. All right, here's that warrior one. Inhale the left foot forward. We're working bird wing. So I bring the palms up in front of me, forearms parallel with one another, at least for now. Forearms parallel with the ground. Inhale, ribs into arms. And then exhale, slipping the shoulders down, squeeze armpits, finessing that squeeze toward the back crease. And the whole while, all of these back muscles are squeezing. I feel these spiraling, these reorganizing movements all the way through my right leg and into my right foot and big toe. So I'm letting bird wing reorganize all of this structure. Let's do a couple more. I find myself deepening into the warrior and really working that back leg. It straightens, there's that rotation, there's that big toe connection. To me, it feels remarkably like that standing thing that we did earlier at the wall. Letting the arms go in prep for twisting warrior. Inhale, lifting the abdomen, the chest, the right arm. Exhale, right elbow over left thigh. Now just coming out of that bird wing, those armpit areas, can you sense your breath growing that broadly through the heart and shoulder area? Can you feel your breath contacting and articulating the upper ribs by the armpit? The muscles and the fascia that go all around the shoulder and the shoulder blade. Feel for those. And so now leaving knee up or placing knee down, twisting warrior interlock. So here we're sliding the right armpit down. We're going interlock or grabbing some clothing. release. Inhaling, unwind the arms. And we'll set the hands down, shoulder width. Exhaling, step back, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra. Choose upward dog. If your shoulders are feeling just really great, really warm, go for upward dog. Exhaling, downward dog. Now, remain in downward dog. Can you feel the back half of your pelvic floor? That's the tail half. Can you feel a general sense of release around the tailbone? So yes, muscular release, energetic, just that gesture of opening all around the tail, the back half of the pelvic floor, that gesture of release. And if so, what just happened? What did you feel in your brain and your neck and your head area? Maybe there was a correlated bit of response. Our tail and our head are deeply linked. Our neck, jaw, our pelvis, pelvic floor, hips. Inhaling the right foot forward, reverse warrior. So it's a warrior two stance. And the reverse is exhaling the left hand down to the left leg, raising the right arm. Okay. If reaching the arm overhead feels a little sketchy on the shoulder or the neck, I just want to point out and remind us there's a really nice variation. I could hover my right palm over my thigh and create more of a kind of a different shoulder opening around the right side of the neck. So we have all these possibilities for treating and working with and sensing into our body without pain. I'm letting the abdomen area be rather soft, kind of fluid. When I do that, I actually sit in my feet a little differently. All right, inhaling, draw the trunk upright, and we'll place the right forearm on the right thigh, exhaling the left arm upward for chest opener. So again, now we're turning the chest away from this inner leg, this right inner leg. As I'm lifting my chest away from this right hip, feel the right hip response. Can I sense breath in this right side of pelvis? You can reach quite a ways back. So it's not just arm up. There's a significant chest turning, rib turning, chest opening here. As long as that right hip is, those feet have got you, we can go back quite a bit. All right, inhale, bring the hands down, set the left knee down. Now we're moving into a pigeon. So walk right leg down to the ground. Have your right shin kind of aligned with the top of your mat. We'll be moving or twisting toward the right foot. Okay. Now, just depending on what you feel as you're getting into pigeon, that may seem like a tall order. So how do we even begin that? Well, first, I might just move my hands to the left side of the mat. And maybe that's where it goes. That's my version of twisting toward the foot. Some others might just start to reach the right arm out, getting a kind of a flank stretch in here, a hip to flank. It's another wonderful way to work. Some of you will get the arm kind of pressing, getting leverage off that foot. But I'm inhaling the right side of the ribs forward toward the top of the mat. So the whole right side ribs kind of moving forward, even though my hands are off on the left. Inhaling, walk the hands back under the shoulders. Exhaling, downward dog. Straightening the arms, which usually means the elbows. And then broadening the shoulder blades apart from one another. You feel how that takes up differently in the right and the left side of the upper back. All right, reverse warrior. Inhale the left foot forward. So the stance is a warrior two. Exhaling the right hand to the right leg, left arm reaches up. Now again, if this arm position doesn't work as well for your neck, we've got these others. You can hover your left palm over your left thigh. So why even get curious about neck and shoulder and breath, right? Why even get curious about this being able to release or feel or sense? For me, there's really few more exciting things than remembering that this body is alive. There's this intrinsic awakeness to which we belong. That is us. That is a part of us that is us. It is our makeup. Fullness and aliveness, and yes, emptiness, right? It's part of us. That we're not relegated to being numbed out from it. There's ways to remember this. So inhale, we'll bring that left arm up over the trunk. And here's that extended warrior variation. We'll go left forearm to thigh, right arm reaches up. And so we started our practice with these very simple gestures of release, or softening or opening. So as you're kind of following these little gestures of softening and opening, one of the things that I find when you check it in your work is it reveals and helps me remember again and again, there's that intrinsic aliveness. And it may be subtle, it might be really big. But as I feel body opening, as I breathe into that kind of newly informed, opening body, there's that quality of spaciousness. That's how I know. That's how we know the path of the heart. There's lots of little kind of breadcrumb clues that help us know that we're engaging in this heart path. That spaciousness, that fullness, that aliveness. I mean, there's also a groundedness, a substantiality. Let's move into that pigeon. So we'll bring the hands down, set the right knee down, and walk the left leg down. If possible, bring the left shin in line with the top edge of your mat. Now we're twisting or moving toward the foot, which can happen in stages. So stage one is maybe I just move my hands over to the right side of the mat. Maybe two is I stretch that left arm out a little further, so getting more of a flank, lengthening than a twist. And then later, or eventually, I can put my arm to the sole of my left foot. And inhaling, unwind. We'll set the hands under the shoulders. Exhaling, downward dog. All right, let's have set the knees down. We'll have a seat. And just one final kind of iteration, what I believe we were kind of playing with in a sense this morning. So I've got my left leg tucked in, and here's my right hand to the inside of my right foot. Both my sit bones are down, and I certainly can use my left hand on the ground. And pressing through this inner right leg. Now, if I feel confident and like I'm remaining quite upright, I can reach my left arm back. And place the head, the eyes in the head position that feels best on your neck. There's a lot of rotational things going on in the arms and the shoulder. So I want you to put the head and the neck where it feels good, not crunchy or funky. release. We'll just do that for the other side. So both sit bones remain down. Tuck this right leg in, and my left hand grabs my left inner foot. Now, whether this leg straightens or not, it's fine. I can use the right hand on the ground for support. If I reach back, I get a little different quality of movement through that upper back, that back of heart. If I'm really floppy in the pelvic floor, this gets really heavy and strenuous on the neck and the shoulders. If I squeeze too much, the pelvic floor will just kind of bobble around rigidly. But there's that breath responsivity that actually helps my body open. So remember that pelvic floor, that breath responsivity allows my body to respond moment to moment. All right, let's set that leg down. Let's take a brief rest. You could do this in seated, like seated meditation style. You could do this in Shavasana, lying down. But just a brief moment in a position of kinetic quietude. So you can feel, one, the breathingness of the body. There's that fundamental pulse. Expand, condense. Absorb, release. And two, you can feel the body moving, no matter how subtly, in that direction of openness. Remember how the eyes softened, the palms and the hands opened and softened. And in that opening, right there, you're likely to find that fullness, that sense of alive, intrinsic fullness. Might feel like the buzz of aliveness. Letting our cells, our nervous system feel that, remember that, know that. We are this aliveness. We are this awareness. That is us. All right. So when you're ready, bend knees. We'll turn to a side. Pressing up. So happy to practice with you or be in practice with you. Namaste. All right. Have a beautiful day.